Welcome to Senior Insights. My name is Cynthia. Today this is the Scoop. We have the Scoop every single afternoon, Monday through Friday, and we just get together at somebody's house and kind of just chat and talk about things. Sometimes we gossip, sometimes we tell stories, sometimes we do jokes or silly things or whatever. So we're just here to hang out because the object of this channel is to just hang out with your friends and find some new friends. So here we go. Welcome to the front porch moment. You don't have to have a rocking chair, but it would be kind of nice. Do you know, once I sat on a front porch and I was babysitting my sister Wendy. She was probably 2 years old, and I sat on a neighbor's porch chair, and it was overstuffed. It was stuffed with hay. Anyway, I sat down, and there was a hornet's nest in there, and she was just a baby, and I was swatting this stuff off and screaming. She hardly got bit at all. She was fine. And I don't even remember if I got bit, but it was a traumatic thing. So don't sit on a bee's nest or a wasp's nest on your chair. So I would love it if you would share some of your porch stories, if you have any. I didn't have we had a front porch, but it was more like a landing. And my back porch was the same thing, so we didn't have that. But I love the idea of the white porch, the white house with the porch in the front and the swing. Does anybody have a swing on your porch? Do you have it set up nice? You know, some people that I noticed in like beach areas, they actually put curtains. And I'm not sure if that's a decorative thing or that's to keep out the mosquitoes or to just have one up on everybody. I don't know. If anybody knows or if anybody does the curtains on the porch, let me know. I know lots of times when you watch movies, you'll see porches with curtains. Just sheer pretty curtains. I mean, they kind of look nice, but it's very classy. I don't know if any of us are that classy, but let us know if you are, because I think we need to know these things. We need to know who our friends are. That's one of the things that we're doing pretty good with, because everybody's talking a lot and getting to know each other. And definitely I'm getting to know who's who quite a bit better, and that's really important to me because you're important to me. Without you, we wouldn't even be sitting on the porch. So let's just chat like old friends. Did you ever, I'm sure I asked this already, but did you ever sit on the front porch? I don't think I ever did. I had one house, that house that I lusted for years and years, that I lost after our divorce. Well, we sold it. But it was an old Victorian house, and it had a big white porch. And then on the end of it, it had this circular thing like a gazebo, and it was all screened in. And I set up that nicely, but I don't remember ever sitting out there and enjoying it. I even had a little TV on the inside that I could put in the window if I chose to watch TV outside. But that's the only my personal porch experience. But then my neighbor across the street, my girlfriend Catherine, she's passed now. She was in my first wedding, and she was a lovely girl. We used to hang out together a lot. And her father was older. Her parents were a lot older when she was born. She was the youngest of three girls, but her parents were really old. Her father had white hair. Maybe he just seemed old, but I think he was pretty old. And he would sit on his front porch. He had a rocking chair, and he would watch us, the kids, play kickball We always played kickball in the middle of the street. Not like today. Well, kids, I don't even know if kids know what kickball is, or it's probably illegal because you hit somebody with a ball. I don't know what we're coming to. But he used to sit there. And then that house that I sat on, the bees, that man used to sit out there on his porch. I don't remember if he sat on that. I think he sat on the steps. That's an interesting thing. Like a lot of people that have those brownstones, like in Boston, or I'm sure LA or other cities have these brownstones, and they have a long set of steps. And a lot of people would sit on the stoop in the afternoon and chat. Did anybody have a stoop? That just came to me. Tell me if you had a scoop on, if you had a stoop on the scoop. Comments, because that would be fun to know too, if you grew up in a big city. Now I think the kids, when they need to play, they have to go to parks, and everything's, it's just different. It's different than the way we grew up. We really, if you think about it, we're very fortunate to grow up in this era because we've experienced so many things, so many changes, and so much growth in everything. Healthcare, well, that's kind of going down the tubes if you ask me, but everything's different. Education, I'm not so sure that that's much better. I think you should get a ruler across the knuckles every so often. And wear pants or skirts that are below your knee, but, instead of halter tops and shorts. But that's just my opinion. And there's probably several of you that say, what's the big deal? And that's okay. We can be different because this is a safe place to be different. Don't be too different. We don't want any too many weird people. We've got quirky Carlotta. We did a talk about being quirky is good. So I don't know where that goes with that. But sitting on the porch. Did anyone ever have one of those back and forth swings? This wasn't on the porch. This was a yard swing. And there were two benches that faced each other. Those were really popular, not with the children, but with the adults when I was a kid. And I never had one. I always wished that I had one. And my friend, her name is Kathy too, she passed away a year ago. And her kids gave her a porch swing. And she had that. It was so cool. I couldn't really go on them because I get motion sickness. I don't think I do anymore, but I used to. Anything that moved, it was not a good thing, especially like in a circle. Oh, here I go. I'm thinking about amusement parks. I hate amusement rides. I'm jealous that I can't go on many of them. Anything that goes around in a circle. Or, those swings that used to swing way out, they were on chains and you'd go around. We had one amusement park it was called White City, and it's all built up now, and that's long gone. But they used to have one of those swings that went out over the lake. That would have scared me. I wouldn't like that. But I can't go around the tilt-a-whirl and all those things. I did have a time when I loved roller coasters. I think I went on it 9 times in a row once. But I would automatically scream. And I know if I went today, I would pee in my pants. I would. I just know it. I would let go. The people below would be getting a shower and they won't know what hit them. I don't know how I got talking about amusement parks, because that is not something that you usually talk about on the front porch. But I just thought of another thing. I used to like the Ferris wheel too, but now remember that goes around. And I was getting queasy. and queasier. And they stopped, and my cart was on the top. Well, I leaned over and threw up on the ticket booth. That's how. It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad for me. So, anyway, I bet you had some experiences at a carnival. We used to call them carnivals. The carnival would come to town. It rained every single time the carnival came to town. I think they were just traveling carnivals. They didn't have an awful lot of things. But when I was a kid on Memorial Day, my parents would take us, every Memorial Day, they took us to Benson's Animal Farm in New Hampshire. Has anyone ever been to Benson's? It no longer exists either. But they had amusements there, and they were pretty tame, so I could handle that. But they say at Disney that they have things that you go up this long tower, this big, narrow tower, and you get up the top, and then they let the cart go. Oh my gosh, I don't think I could do that. I don't think I could do skydiving. I bet some of you are skydivers or hang gliders or whatever. Let us know, because, it's good to celebrate all the things that we used to do, because I don't think anyone would believe that we're capable of doing these things. Like, I'm a certified scuba diver. Who would have thought? I couldn't do ballet, but I did scuba diving. I hated every minute of it. I was terrified. But I did it. I used to make myself, I still do, take on a challenge, and that expression, feel the fear and do it anyway. That's me. I'm checking the time because I had a hard time this morning getting my act together. It's happening more and more lately. So I think I ruined everybody's idea of what a good cup of coffee is by doing that video on coffee and decaf, and it wasn't meant to scare anyone. You're supposed to do that in the thumbnail so that people will want to watch. You're supposed to put, I'm not going to tell you, you'll see them as they happen, because I'm going to do those things. But you can tell me in the comments when you notice something, like on the thumbnail, that's totally different. Sometimes I don't do a thumbnail, I just do me. And actually that video that went viral was no thumbnail, no nothing, no editing, nothing. I don't do anything by the book. So back to the coffee. I think some people were kind of freaked out and said they're not going to drink decaf. They're natural chemicals that they use, and they use the chemicals in the United States. They're the most primary ones that they use, but they do use the water method. But those are on higher end products, so the cheapest thing is to use that. And teas, I think I confuse people a little bit on that. There are a lot of naturally decaf teas. So I don't think you have to worry about that. But if you are a real fanatic about things like that, and I know there's probably some here that are, and that's okay, then you might consider not drinking decaf. It tastes terrible anyway. There is a significant difference in the taste, in my opinion. And I'll tell you a secret. When and if you go to the nursing home, that's all they serve you is decaf tea, coffee. If you go to the hospital, that's what they serve you. So if you're in the hospital, or you're in a nursing home, or you're in an assisted living, I guarantee you that it is decaf coffee. You know how I know? I'm an authority on everything. No, I've been in all those settings, and I know. that's what you get. Some people like decaf coffee. Some people like instant coffee. So we're all different, right? Some people like to percolate their coffee. I remember I used to love to do that camping. We're supposed to be rocking in our chairs now. Did I tell you what I'm doing with my vacuum cleaner? I'm so sick of hearing about the vacuum cleaner. That's why I'm losing 3 subscribers a day. I took out my old vacuum cleaner and I'm doing a preliminary clean, and then I'll use the other one because I'm trying to get ready for my sisters. And I've been kind of fantasizing or dreaming about how I'll see if I can con them into doing a little visitation on the video. I doubt it very much if they will. But one of my sisters, she goes on trips and she collects her pictures. Her name is Francine. She'll probably kill me for that too, but I don't think you can track her down or anything. But she's retired not just a few years, because she's 3 years younger than me, so she's been retired now for a while. But she enjoys every single day of her retirement. She goes and tours the local states. You know, she lives on the border between Rhode Island and Connecticut and Massachusetts, and she could even go to New York. So she takes pictures everywhere she goes, and she puts captions on them, but she just posts them on Facebook. So I'm going to convince her. I think I'll have to set up my shrine with all the cards, and she'll be astounded. And then I'll say, well, this could happen to you too. Anyway, the other thing is I told one of my sisters, I said, if you have any pictures of me, especially as a child, would you please consider bringing them? I said, don't go to any trouble or anything, because sometimes we have our old pictures stashed away someplace. Remember how we used to take photographs? Now, where are those photographs? I have no idea. They spin around on Alexa. I have this cloud thing that I don't know how to get to the cloud. Do you have to get in an airplane to go to the cloud? I don't know. Do you? I don't know if it's Google or... I mean, there's all different kinds. If it's Microsoft Cloud, or if it's Google Cloud, or if it's whatever kind of cloud. I don't understand it. I'll have to ask Dustin. I think he probably, if I asked him, he'd be rolling his eyes, because he's the one who convinced me that I needed cloud storage. It's all his fault that I can't find my picture. Anyway, I told her, would you please, this is Joanne, my sister, consider going through your photos and seeing if you can find any pictures of me as a child, you know, growing up kind of thing. She sent me back a picture of her where she has her photos stored. So if I think about it, and if I remember, I'm going to show you that picture, because you'll get a hoot. Anyone like me who would ask someone to go through what she would have to go through to potentially find pictures of me would be nuts. And I felt bad that I asked her. So she showed me the picture of where the photos are. After I said, well, why don't you just bring the box so you don't have to go through it, and we can go through it together, and it would be kind of fun, you know, reminiscing and looking through the old pictures. That's when she sent me the picture of her storage of pictures. So anyway, they're coming next Tuesday, so I don't know what that will do to my filming schedule, because I know it'll have me in a tizzy. Well, I have to spend time with them. I can't spend time with you. And I have mixed feelings about that. I'm really looking forward to seeing them, because I don't see them a lot since I moved to Maine, and my immediate family lives in Massachusetts. That's a sort of regret that I have, that I don't get to see them. So it's not a terrible regret, but yeah, that's one of the negative things about moving out of state, or moving so far away that it's not convenient for you to go, or getting so old that you don't feel like going anymore. You know, I mean, really. Have I talked your ear off enough? You're supposed to be participating. Maybe what we should do at some point is do the Scoop live. That might be fun. And maybe when I get my act together, I can respond. You know, I'm a terrible typer, though. I took typing 2 years in a row, 2 semesters, I guess, and it was in high school. I still can't type. You know, then, remember, you had to, if you wanted to get a job as a receptionist or a secretary, you had to type, I don't know what it was, 34 words a minute or 75 words a minute, but I cannot. Although I've noticed I'm getting a little better when I'm writing comments and stuff. But you notice I don't even put any periods anymore. I say, oh, someone will tell me that I'm not punctuating things. When I just said that, oh, somebody will tell me, it reminded me of my mother. There are some things that I really loved about my mother. There were other things that were not the greatest. Maybe someday we'll share some of those real stories. I was watching Carol on Plain Vanilla Grandma. This morning I watched it, actually. She did a fabulous video about talking about how, talking about her feelings, and that she didn't have friends, and she didn't have the energy to go out and look for them, and she didn't really want them. And then she got on YouTube, and she's never seen any of her friends, but she loves them, and she connected with them, and they've connected with her, so she has a whole bunch of friends. And that's, you know, what this channel is about. So we want to be friends and support each other. So there's a couple other things that I wanted to tell you. I put in a post, I put a link to Deanna's channel. I'm not exactly sure what the name of the channel is, but she's a member of this community, and she doesn't do talks like this. They call this a talking head. That's what it is. That's why my hair has to be perfect all the time, because I'm a talking head. Anyway, she started a YouTube channel. She started a YouTube channel when her husband threw her out of the house. And she was, you know, freaked out in a bad way. I mean, I don't know if she was freaked out. I don't know, and it's not really my business to tell you that. But she did put it in, no, she didn't put it in the comments. I'm sorry, Deanna. But go to her channel. I put a link in it. And, you know, if it's not your thing and you don't want to subscribe, that you don't have to subscribe. But it's really kind of interesting. She collects rocks and stones and, you know, like natural gems. And she has quite a collection. And they're beautiful. And she can't have pets, she says, because she lives in an apartment. So she collects rocks, but they're not ordinary rocks. So you should give her a look. And then there was another one that I wanted to Oh, Renee, or Dear Heart, she sent me a link on how to make lipstick the old-fashioned way. So I thought, well, this was National Lipstick Week, or last week was, or someday was, and so we're into Cherries in the Snow, and I thought that was fun, and I watched that video. It's just a short, so it's only like a minute or 2 minutes, but I found it very interesting. So I would suggest that you consider watching that as well, and that's Deanna. So I'm just going to ask you a few questions, because remember, the questions help us get together and have laughs and have friends. How many of you actually watch shorts? Do you like shorts? Do you like to watch them? What is the strangest thing that you ever stored in your refrigerator? Don't tell us if it was a dead body. We don't want to know that. But anything up to a dead body, you can tell us. Because I bet we've had strange things. And here's a good one. Have you ever regifted a gift and then wished you had it back? Or better yet, have you ever regifted a gift to the person who gave you the gift? Have you? Okay, I'm going to read the questions one more time. I know you're chomping to get out of here. You're chomping to see the pets. I forgot to once again talk about the pets at the beginning. I'll have to throw something in. What is the strangest thing that you ever have stored in your refrigerator? How many of you watch shorts, and do you like shorts? Have you ever regifted someone, and wanted it back? Or have you ever regifted the same gift to the same person, the gift that they gave you? Have you? I think those would be fun things to talk about. Anyway, thank you for joining me on the porch and the scoop, and I'll have the pet pictures. I don't know how many I'll put. Maybe I'll put the rest of them. And then we'll see where we go from there. I still only have one video of a person, so that's probably going to be a flop. But that's okay. We live and learn, and we learn from our mistakes, I guess. Okay, goodbye. I'll see you tomorrow. There will be no scoop on Saturday and Sunday, and tomorrow is the board meeting. Make sure it's mandatory attendance.